Video games finally goes on sale. To rewrite retail history.
There are things that define us in life. Our experiences, our mistakes, and what we consume. Much like jobs, people we meet, or the films we watch, the books we read, and the games we play, not everyone will understand the meaning of these things as well as you do. But you can certainly show them. You can paint them a picture in their mind. Video games have always been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. They've taught me things I wouldn't have learned otherwise. They've opened up worlds for me to experience and live in outside of the real world. They've given me an escape and so many memories. The real world is full of beauty and things beyond your imagination. But video games give you a moment to live within something or experience something that is impossible to experience in any other way. Like many art forms, they can inspire us and help us on our own personal journey. They can help connect memories and moments in time. Like Mortal Kombat to my dad, Metal Gear Solid to my uncle, and even Foosball or SSX Tricky to my granddad. That's what brings us here today. A game that is very important to me, and for a long time, I had completely forgotten just how important it was. That game is Halo 2. And I feel as if I should start by telling you my story about Halo 2. But I think what will heighten my eventual reevaluation of the series and what it meant to me in this story that started around 20 years ago is one of the things that reminded me why I love Halo. Last year, I started watching the Halo TV series. After much avoidance because of the relatively poor reception and opinions floating around. And man, there's some strong opinions. But I made the leap of faith into a world made real because I remembered I usually love what most people hate. This world was a world I once called home, and a universe made bright only by our own creativity, passion, and the main man himself, John 117, the Master Chief, where some know him, Steve Downes, the man who brought the Chief to life.
After Halo 1 came out, and I was with some friends in Florida whose kids were playing the game, and I had really kind of forgotten about the session. We had done the session, 6-7 months ago, and when you do these things, they come and they go, and you move on to the next thing. But the kids were playing the game, and they said, I said, I think I voiced a character in this game, and they said, really? Who was it? And I couldn't remember his name. I said, I don't know, but I think he was the main guy. And they said, Master Chief? I said, yeah, it was Master Chief. Within 15 minutes, there was about 40 or 50 kids outside his door carrying Xboxes and copies of the game, and I realized that I had hitched my wagon to something that was, I had no idea where we were going to go.
For better or worse, adaptations are just that, an adaptation of another's work. They may put a spin on a few things, use the staple helmet very infrequently, and focus more on the world than the hero, but that's actually why I love the show. It tells many a story, and it may differ from its source material, but they brought so much love and care into the project. Sure, Chief doesn't wear his helmet enough, but it adds a layer of humanity and ultimately strengthens the core of Halo. A machine of a man learning to become human through an AI that is more human than the man in question. The constant need to replace physical with digital, and what one man, one super soldier, would do to protect all of humanity against countless threats, big and small.
Just one question. What if you miss?
I won't.
Master Chief isn't just some basement-dwelling loser living with their mom, falling in love with an AI. He feels more connected to the AI because it is like him. It's emotionless and not apt to question until the day it does, and it helps him see the world as it really is. Decipher that as you may, as a nerd's fever dream or a deep, constructive way of looking into the human soul, as Chief has to rediscover what being human even means, as his humanity had been stripped away from him long ago as a child.
You kidnapped them.
Children's minds are more easily accepting of indoctrination. Their bodies more adaptable to augmentation. The result was the ultimate soldier.
The show gives you a look into the world of Halo, and the Chief's mindset in more depth than ever before. The games are known for Doom-like action and Half-Life-like spectacle, but they were one of the first to be so grand and epic. The Halo show made me shed tears of joy. It made me reflect on the past and uncover buried memories. It reminded me what Halo meant to me and made me wonder how we drifted apart over the years. Now this is my story, a fan's story, a Halo story. It had to have been 2004, but my memory is cloudy on the year. Halo 2 was still new and fresh at the time. I would have been 6 years old, and I had played Call of Duty and Medal of Honor, Metal Gear Solid, and much more at that point. But I hadn't fallen in love with many games aside from Spyro or Banjo. I played to mess around and because games were fun. I think getting Halo 2 was one of those key moments I fell in love with many of the possibilities behind video games. In a year where everyone remembers Half-Life 2, there were other important heavy hitters like Halo 2 or one of my favorite and often overlooked games, The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. Let's start from the beginning of what I can recall from memory. If my memory serves me correctly, I was in a Kmart with my uncle, someone who I viewed as more of an older brother due to growing up in the same household. He introduced me to many of the games I love today, alongside my dad and many others. At this Kmart, I remember there being a demo of Halo 2 at some point. I don't know if it was that same day, but I remember enjoying what I saw and what I played. I hadn't seen or experienced anything quite like that. I asked my uncle to buy it for me, and I feel like I had asked my grandmother prior to that, and she said no because it was rated M. But my uncle did buy it for me, and well, my life changed when I booted it up on my Xbox for the first time. That was the very beginning of a long-standing love for Halo and of first-person shooters. I can say with absolute certainty that there were very few games that were played as much as that game on my Xbox. I played and beat Halo 2 more times than I could possibly count. It was the game that introduced me to split-screen multiplayer and couch co-op. I always reminisce the days sitting on the end of my mom's bed playing Halo 2 on a tiny little tube TV with friends, cousins, and even my mom's boyfriend at the time. I spent years playing Halo 2 with friends and siblings. I even played it with my uncle and my dad a time or two. I spent countless hours running around in levels looking for secret spots and getting better so I could have the edge when I played with others. Customizing the colors and logos for individual profiles and playing the campaign on every difficulty. Very few could even begin to rival my offline co-op experiences with Halo 2. Truly an experience like no other in my eyes. The spectacle, the scope, the Chief. We've covered a bit of my history with Halo 2, and even the events that led it into my hands, leading to this very moment making this video. I brushed over why I loved the Halo show and how it reignited my hidden passion and love for Halo. The multiplayer that defined my childhood. Now, let's dig into Halo 2's history and what made it a cultural icon to not only my child self, but my adult self and all the millions of fans around the globe. Halo 2 had a very troubled development, and even to this day is viewed in a very skewed and occasionally dim light due to its technically unfinished nature and the cliffhanger ending it left us on for 3 years before we got Halo 3, another masterpiece in its own right.
To produce, and how long they were taking to design and script, and it just wasn't going to work.
And then everything that wasn't essential, all these things that we just loved to see in the game, they get put on the bottom of this list, and we start hacking them off.
That being said, it was one of the most hyped sequels in video game history and an online multiplayer trendsetter that set the standard for years to come. Halo 2 broke down the walls that prevented us from having good online multiplayer. It brought us Xbox Live and an actual way to play with others, not just on our couch, but around the world.
Saying, you know, honey, I'm going over to Jeff's house to go play cards. Now it's, honey, I'm headed over to Jeff's house to go play Halo. So we tried to create what we called a virtual couch. We tried something completely new, which is this party system, where you and your friends kind of combine together online, and you can jump from game to game to game to game, and you and your friends will always be together.
I didn't have access to Xbox Live back then, but when I did get access in 2012 on the Xbox 360, the first thing I played online was Halo Reach, alongside Modern Warfare 3 and a few others. Even if it wasn't Halo 2, my first online game was still Halo. The first game I played couch co-op and split-screen multiplayer on was Halo 2. I never did play Call of Duty or Medal of Honor split-screen until a few years later. Halo 2's multiplayer was groundbreaking. It did away with the need for dedicated servers and allowed people to invite their friends to parties to keep them together. They pioneered game mode playlists and connecting players with those of a similar skill level for a constantly fun and challenging experience. Bungie made online play very straightforward and added limited customization options compared to today, but at the time was amazing. Even the ability to play as an elite or Spartan. It became the killer app for Xbox Live. People still had LAN parties and even helped forge the competitive Halo scene.
More than 150 teams entered the tournament, hoping to earn a spot in the MLG Championship match. But after 3 days of fighting for respect, pride, and cash prizes,
the hype around Halo 2's release was astronomical. At the time, it was the highest grossing game of all time.
The most anticipated game in entertainment history.
Sold 2.4 million units in 24 hours.
Now, I understand there's a few more states to put in the red and blue columns. We're going to go back to the map and Rob Corddry. Rob, looking at the... Rob.
Yeah, suck it. Where's your alien plasma rifle now, bitch?
It took the world by storm, and for a studio that went through hell just to get it out the door, that was a relief.
Needed an epic effort to put it together and make it really great, sort of coming together now.
The reason the plane builder is now considered. We're at a stage in the game development where a lot of things that were broken or unfinished are really coming together.
It was an unfinished and even buggy game, but a masterpiece nonetheless to the masses and critics alike, with only a few naysayers. Much of it was due to the aforementioned multiplayer, but the story alone was grand and epic beyond anything we had seen before. A story spanning the galaxy from 2 opposing sides, united to fight one great evil. The other side was the side of the Arbiter, a religious martyr tasked with dying in battle, or at least that was the meaning behind the title now, but at one point it was the title of king.
Regarding the history of the Covenant and its glorious founding species, the Sanshayum and Sanghili, the record of punished deeds would not be sufficient without a word on the Arbiter. Not the consignment of shame that it is currently, but what came before, the legendary warriors of Sanghili past. Long before the Covenant, the Sanghili ruled their world with pride and vigilance, surviving the perils of both land and sea. These were the arbiters of old, part king, part judge, warrior rulers, unlike any of which would follow.
Keith David's performance as the Arbiter is just as legendary as Steve Downes in Chief.
Kill me or release me, Parasite. But do not waste my time with talk.
Keith David has such an impactful and serious tone. It's very fitting of the alien we learn about as we go on. It was such a crazy twist to get to play the supposed enemy, except there was yet another cog in the machine. The Flood, which was well known at that time from Combat Evolved. But now we get to meet the Gravemind.
What is that?
I am a monument to all your sins.
Relax. I'd rather not piss this thing off.
Demon.
The pseudo face of the Flood, even if they are a hive mind. A truly menacing and terrifying foe that unleashed the spores to infect people, which I called onions as a kid, because they kind of resembled green onions. Even they'd temporarily be of assistance against the extremist threat that was the Covenant, helping unravel it at its fairly weak seams. The Covenant was very much a representation of organized religion as a way to manipulate, radicalize, and weaponize the fears of the weak to then militarize them into a force that could protect those in power and destroy those viewed as non-believers or demons.
We are, all of us, gravely concerned. The release of the parasite was unexpected, unfortunate, but there is no need to panic. In truth, this is a time to rejoice. A moment that all the Covenant should savor. For the sacred icon has been found. With it, our path is clear, our entry into the divine beyond guaranteed. The great journey is nigh, and nothing, not even the Flood, can stop it.
Boo.
Kill the demon!
Certainly a sci-fi twist on the Crusades, or any other war fought in the name of any religion under the influence of those who only seek power. I think the religious angle poured over the top of the badass power fantasy was really a clever choice. You pull us in with Doom guy-like bravado, but really make us stay with a deep look into humanity, religion, and the cost of choices made by powers that be from the perspective of a high-priority super soldier tasked with saving the galaxy. It's deep if you want to look past the lake's frozen surface into the ocean beneath, but if not, then dancing on top of the frozen lake gives you just enough satisfaction from the action and spectacle alone. The action and spectacle is what sold me, and what made me fall in love with Halo 2. I loved the story and the epic being told through the eyes of the Master Chief. The visceral nature of finally being able to wield the energy sword and slice up the Covenant, dual-wield SMGs to unload dozens of bullets into those pesky grunts. Sergeant Johnson was another major factor in the action and the spectacle. He was the badass Marine who wasn't a super soldier, but instead just one hard-ass mofo who kicked ass and smoked a cigar, and he never ran out of either. Johnson is just as synonymous with Halo as Master Chief in my eyes. You can't have Halo without Johnson. I mean shit, he even got his own book called Halo Contact Harvest, and I highly recommend it. Sarge is Halo 2's hype man, and man do I love his character. He's the perfect friend for Chief, and he shows you can be a badass even without enhancements. Hoorah!
We regret coming to Earth, and we most definitely regret the Corps just blew up our raggedy-ass fleet! Hoorah!
Regret is a name, Sergeant. The name of one of the Covenant's religious leaders, a prophet. He's on that carrier, and he's calling for help.
Immediate. Grid Kilo 2-3 is hot. Recommend mission abort.
Roger, Recon. It's your call, Sarge.
We're going in. Get tactical, Marines!
One thing I've somehow failed to mention that changed the game and was once again another thing that reinvented the first-person shooter for the better or worse. In this case, better, and that was the shield regen. A mechanic that would later be put into almost every game from Darkwatch, a good example of its use, or 90% of modern video games, a poor use of the mechanic. An assassin regenerating their health makes no sense, but a Spartan with a built-in energy shield complements the Mjolnir armor that Chief wears in a diegetic way. The Mjolnir armor is a technologically advanced combat exoskeleton system designed to vastly improve the strength, speed, agility, reflexes, and durability of a Spartan super soldier. Then the shield came along with Mark V, and the energy shield device was reverse engineered from Covenant technology. It allows you to play fast and loose, but once the shield goes down, you're vulnerable to being one-shot. It allowed the developers to design the game for more direct combat and still give you a way to feel a challenge. That's a large part of what makes Halo so great, the melding of different generations of game design to create the beauty we can still play to this day. I learned to appreciate the nuance of the narrative being told much later in life, especially this more recent playthrough. That being said, the bombastic music and perfect mix of combat and beautiful cinematics still keeps me interested to this day. The multiplayer is a superbly prepared side dish I like to partake in from time to time with randoms or friends to this day, especially with the MCC. Though after Halo 5, I'd lost my connection with Halo. It was always there, but it began to linger in the deepest realms of my mind. The show reopened my eyes to my deep love for the series that had long sat dormant. I finally played through and beat the remastered anniversary version of Halo 2 through the MCC for the first time, even though that's my favorite FPS of all time. It blew my mind that it took this long. Those cinematics made by Blur Studios are Blizzard levels of good. I missed Halo, and I think it missed me all the same. The Chief and I have more journeys to embark on. Halo 2 means a lot to me. The world of Halo is nostalgic and emotional for me. I want to thank Hyaksho for being my biggest inspiration for finally creating this video. He made a beautiful deep dive into his own personal fan story with Doom, and it touched my heart. That was the spark that led to this very moment. I hope you're doing well, friend. Long live our big green badasses, and may they eventually get their own collaboration one day. I thank you all for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed the experience, and I sincerely appreciate your support. Hopefully you'll stick around for all this to come. It's going to be quite a fun ride. Hoorah! The Forge is calling, and I must answer. I'll see you all next time.
Got a new contact, unknown classification.
It isn't one of ours. Take it out.
This is Spartan 117.
Can anyone hear me? Over.
Isolate that signal. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.